Today on the show, I'm honored to welcome Dr. Greg Franklin, a dedicated career educator whose leadership and vision have quietly reshaped K-12 education in California. With a 36-year journey that began in his home district of Santa Ana Unified School District as a teacher and a coach, he went on to serve as principal, then superintendent of Los Alamitos Unified School District. Dr. Franklin then led Tustin Unified School District in Orange County as superintendent from 2011 to 2021. Under his stewardship, the district expanded rigorous course access, launched dual language immersion and robotics programs, and steadily increased college readiness outcomes. In recognition of his work to advance equity and access for underrepresented students, Dr. Franklin was named California's Superintendent of the Year in 2014. Today, Dr. Franklin is a professor in the University of Southern California Rossier School of Education and coordinator of the K-12 Leadership Concentration for their doctoral program. Today, we'll dig into how a mindset of relentless service, data-driven decision-making, and community partnership helped him lead with both heart and results, and what that means for school leaders striving to make a real difference. Let's go. Welcome to On the School Bus with Dr. Spates, the podcast dedicated to advancing creativity and innovation in education. Each week, we invite educators, innovators, and creatives from across the country doing the real work in schools to hop on the school bus with me, Dr. Spates. Together, we explore what's working. Whether you lead from an office, a classroom, or anywhere in between, this podcast is your vehicle for creative ideas, bold leadership, and strategies that have been put to the test where it counts in schools. Because our children, families, caregivers, and communities are counting on us to equip the next generation for success. Let's go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of On the School Bus with Dr. Spates. Today, as you know, I have the incredible Dr. Gregory Franklin. I told you guys I collect mentors, so again, I always give people an out. They don't have to claim me, but I definitely claim him. And so he has been instrumental in helping me prepare with the ways of thinking and mindset, especially to become a school principal. And so I'm very excited that you will get to meet him today. So thank you so much, Dr. Franklin, for coming on today.
Happy to be here, and I'm happy to claim you, Kristen Spates.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to hop right into it. So I have my first question for you.
Okay.
You held roles from classroom teacher to district superintendent and now educator of leaders. Looking back, what is one structure or system you put in place as superintendent that consistently unlocked teacher creativity and innovation in classrooms? And how might a team lead from within a single school or a department, and what's sort of a scaled down version of it?
Yeah. For me, the secret sauce to creativity is having a structure that provides a framework of where we want to go, a vision that we've all agreed to and sort of put hands in the middle and said, yes, that's our vision and mission.
Okay.
And that is pretty tight.
Okay.
And then how do we get there is pretty loose.
Okay.
So I think that the magic for the leader perspective is being such a good, clear communicator that everybody understands where you're going. Mm-hmm. And then they will think of ways to get there that you or I would never have dreamt of as ways to get there. So Lencioni in his book, The Advantage, says that the manager's job is to create clarity. And that's that vision sandbox kind of idea. Mm-hmm. And then to communicate the clarity, and then to over-communicate the clarity. And I take that to heart that, hey, we have to really make sure everybody knows where we're going, and then they will get us there in ways that are spectacular.
Can you talk a little bit about clarity and just over-communicating the clarity? Because sometimes I think that we're clear and I've communicated, but I haven't. If they're not clear. So can you, how might we do that? How do we over communicate to ensure our colleagues are clear?
So it seems a little embarrassing, but repetition is part of it. And that's not because people aren't smart. It's because it's hard to get people's attention.
Okay.
And so I worked at United Parcel Service when I was in college, and I was a supervisor of a work group. And the managing trainer told me people have to hear something 7 times before it clicks with them.
Okay.
And so once I have a message, I say it, I print it, I record it. It goes at
Okay.
the top of newsletters.
Okay.
We use it as reminders at the beginning of faculty meetings.
Okay.
And so it's that looking for ways to keep reinforcing. And then once you start seeing people doing it, holding
Okay.
them up as models.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Next, innovation often means rethinking how we've always done it. What mind shifts did you intentionally cultivate among your principals, your teacher leaders, and staff in your work at Test and Unified to move from compliance to creativity? And then the second part, and what's one practical starter exercise that you would suggest for a team leader to kick off a mindset shift at their school?
Good. One of the things that I did when I was superintendent in both Los Alamitos and Tustin was introduced interest-based bargaining.
Oh,
And that seems like a strange segue to innovation, but in the interest-based process, rather than you and I sitting across the table and arguing with one another, we come up with our common interests, then we put those up on chart paper on a wall, and then you and I no longer are sitting across from each
right.
other, being each other's problem. The problem's on the wall. You and I are sitting shoulder to shoulder, coming up with elegant and interesting solutions to our interests.
Oh, I love that.
And so in Tustin, we took that a step further and trained our managers in interest-based problem solving.
Okay.
And to me, the key to all of that is find a way to say yes. When people have a good idea, our first reaction too often is, no, we can't do that. We're
Right.
worried about the money or compliance or
Yes.
any variety of things. But if people get shot down all the time, they're going to stop coming up with ideas.
Right.
And so for me, it's setting that anticipation that if you want to do something that is different than what we've ever done before, you're going to find allies, especially at the district office, because we don't exist except to help principals be successful.
I love
And
that.
similarly, principals don't exist except to help teachers be successful.
Right.
So let's find a way to say yes.
Nice. I was thinking about when you said that. One of the things I started doing, just looking and being inspired by my central office leaders, and I know that they have collaboration sessions with our collective bargaining leaders. And so I decided to do that at the school site and do monthly collaboration sessions with our certificated and classified, just so that they can correct me if they see that I'm not honoring our collective bargaining agreement. But I like even doing that with that team, even though the agreement is already set, but just hearing their interests are at the school site or what they'd like for me to look out for, just to ensure that we're continuing to collaborate in a positive way. So thank you for that.
I want to give a shout out to Steve Barber, who facilitated our interest-based bargaining both at Los Alamitos and Tustin. Phenomenal facilitator, very, very knowledgeable about public education law. And in his training, the activity I want to share with you comes from him.
Okay.
And early on in the interest-based training, he has everybody pair up and thumb wrestle. You're familiar with,
Yes.
trying to pin the
Yes.
other person's thumb.
Yes.
And he gives very sparse directions to begin with. Your goal in this 20-minute thumb wrestling session is to pin your opponent as many times as you can.
Okay. Okay.
And so, you have people going at it, and
Yes.
somebody's raising their hands in victory, and somebody else is hanging their head in defeat.
Yes.
And then you repeat the directions again. Okay, listen carefully. Your goal is to get as many pins as you can. Ready, go. They do it again. So you do a few rounds of this, and pretty soon
Okay.
somebody realizes that my goal is not to keep my opponent from getting pins. What if we take turns pinning? We both
Right.
win.
Right.
And
Right.
it's that whole idea of shifting to, it's not a zero-sum game.
Yes.
For me to get what I need doesn't mean that I have to keep you from getting what you need.
Right.
And so we developed this mutualism that the two of us are way better at solving both of our problems than we are fighting over either one of our problems.
I love that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. It's a fun activity. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah. There's some
I'll
screaming and
send pictures. I
shouting.
will
It's very
post pictures. All right. And did Steve Barber, did he write a book or
He doesn't have a book. He's right
Okay.
now working on some recordings of his lecturettes that he does
Okay.
as he takes on new clients and
Okay.
trains people in it. But he also was working at the state legislature when they passed the the bargaining laws
Mm.
in California.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's been around a while
Okay.
and just awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna look him up. Thank you. Thank you for
Mhm.
that. All right. You led Tustin through a decade that included both financial and global pandemic pressures and still managed to increase student achievement, A through G completion, and tech enabled pathways. What are three non-negotiables, you held on to that ensured innovation didn't stall in times of crisis? And then how can school level leaders protect those non-negotiables in their sphere of influence?
Yeah. I think that the best time to share your non-negotiables is when you're new in a position. You're just named principal, or you're just named director, or superintendent, whatever the position is,
Mhm.
because everybody's interested. Like, what do they want? Who are they? What do they care
Right.
about? And so, for me, I would tell stories and share examples of times in my life, not when I've been limited, but when people I know who have been limited by the adults when they were
Uh,
in school.
okay.
And so for me, I can right now, I can feel my skin crawl because it's like,
Mhm.
there's, there's no room for that.
Yes.
And so making that clear that we're not going to get in the way of kids. And
Mhm.
then once that is clear, it makes a lot of other things possible. So, what do we do about advanced placement prerequisites? Well, if a kid wants to take calculus, are you going to tell them no? Why? First of all, the kid wants to take calculus.
Right. That deserves an
Just get
award.
out of his way. And so
Yes.
we did things like get rid of a lot of the prerequisites. We got rid of the eighth or the non A through G courses because the kids that weren't doing any work in the non A through G,
Hmm.
they're not doing any work. They're not going to learn any less in an A through G
Right.
course,
Right. Absolutely.
and
Right.
and maybe they'll even be challenged and pick up the pace.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and then provide a lot of support for kids that maybe needed basic skills development. But
Right.
we think that that's something that you can do parallel to the rigorous thinking
Right.
that is required. The second thing is, besides us not wanting to limit anybody, any of the kids, is to invest in people. So I've seen in places where they try to buy their way out of a problem,
Like programs or
programs,
yeah, software.
materials,
Uh-huh.
and those are going to go away eventually, and then you have the same people who have the
Right.
same skills as they had before.
Right.
And so for me, anytime we had a choice, we invested in the people
Okay.
and let them lead. And so we had a really strong teacher leader
Mm.
cohort
Okay.
of folks who led right along next to directors and assistant
Wow.
superintendents. And then the third one is we had a bias towards action.
Uh-huh.
That we're not going to wait until we're perfect to give something a
Mm.
try. That if
Yes.
we do that, oops, there goes another class.
Right.
Oops, there goes
Yes.
another class,
Yes.
and
Yes.
they're getting away from us without us having tried to do something to address their most important needs.
Right.
So we we developed this thing called the TUSD pledge,
Okay.
and when you talk about how do you create clarity,
Yes.
this was part of our answer, is this pledge that we would read when we were all gathered. We would read when new managers were hired. We
Okay.
would read when somebody got a promotion.
Huh.
We used it a lot,
Okay.
and it was developed not by committee, but with a lot of input.
Yes.
And so it represented the things that were going on in the district. But in the end, it says, pledge to be part of a creative, forward-thinking team dedicated to preparing students to thrive now and in the future. And finally, it says, I am Tustin Unified School District, and I will get things done.
I love that. That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful, and it keeps the focus. And I see what you're saying, especially it's like communicating the non-negotiables and
Mm-hmm.
providing clarity, and then even during those tough moments when we have to make decisions or we forget we can work together to pin. we're not pinning against each other,
Right.
those words can echo in our minds.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, how did you how did you respond to people who felt really strongly about the prerequisites to AP and honor classes? Perhaps saying, well, when you look at the student's data, their test scores, they're not ready for this course. Sort of that deficit mind thinking, in my opinion. How did
Mhm.
you respond to that?
So, a lot of teachers who teach advanced placement and IB at the high school
Hmm.
level
Hmm.
kind of keep score, right? About
Okay.
how did they do, right? What
Hmm.
percentage of students did I have that took the test and that
Hmm.
passed the test?
Right.
Which is powerful. It's awesome that they
Right.
take the ownership of that.
Yes.
But if that's the metric, then I'm only interested in taking kids on who have a very high possibility of passing the test.
Mm.
But what we know from research is kids benefit from taking the class even if they don't take the test, or even if they take the
Mm.
test and don't pass.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
student benefits from understanding what rigor looks like, and
Right.
it helps them prepare for college, career, and challenging
Okay.
things. So what we did is we changed the metric. Instead of keeping track of percentage passes, we kept track of tests passed.
Oh,
So
okay.
when you just change the metric, all of a sudden now, if I only had 30 kids and I'm counting on 30 of them passing, I
Hmm.
might get 29 or 30 of them
Right.
passing. But if I have 100 kids, my pass rate may go down,
Hmm.
but I'm going to get a lot more than 30 kids passing that test.
Right. Right.
And so we just changed the definition of success.
Okay.
And to be fair,
Right.
the point that they make is not all kids have the basic skills.
Right.
And so that's really important. It's not fair to the kid to put them in a
Hmm.
situation and then not support. So we had
Right.
Avid,
Okay.
a
Yes,
really,
I love Avid.
really
Yes.
robust Avid program.
So my next question, equity and innovation must go hand in hand.
Mhm.
In your career, you implemented ethnic studies, diversified classroom libraries, expanded A through G completion, which we spoke about for underrepresented students. How
Mhm.
did you ensure that innovation promoted was truly inclusive and not just extra or peripheral? And then
Mhm.
for a school leader in a Title I context, which happens to be mine, so I'm interested in that, what is one bold but doable innovation you would recommend that recenters innovation around equity?
Yeah. I think, if you start with the presupposition that if something's good for kids, it's good for all kids.
Mm.
So I think the best EL instruction is really good English instruction.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think the best honors advanced instruction is really good instruction.
Yes.
And so when we would create programs, we made sure that it had entrees for everybody.
Oh,
And I have
okay.
to say, one of the best things that we did was develop additional career paths.
Oh, okay.
And in the career paths, there was everything from entry level technician, where you're going
Mm-hmm.
to work with your hands and apply
Mm-hmm.
concepts,
Mm-hmm.
to design and engineering, where you're creating the systems.
Okay.
And so that worked out really well, especially, and this is the recommendation I have for Title I schools, especially if you build on an area that you already have some assets
Mm-hmm.
or expertise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So everybody in most schools, they have some teacher who's like the wizard at fill in the blank.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Time and Commander
Video.
Z
Yeah.
are awesome technology for sin. Yes.
Yeah, video production,
Yes.
engineering, whatever it is. And
Yes.
so I think you have to do a little bit of assessment, internal assessment about what is it we're already pretty good at,
Mm-hmm.
or what are we near or have access to that could provide some expertise for us.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So when I was principal at Fullerton, we had a really good culinary program, and so we made it a career pathway
Okay.
and started putting people in hotel jobs.
Wow.
Which those are very high pressure, those kind of working
Yeah.
buffet lines and
Right.
and cooking and patisserie. They could
Mhm.
produce some really
Wow.
magnificent looking things.
Okay.
And so it's that sort of thing where if we didn't have that awesome Mrs. Hunyadi
Mm-hmm.
already there,
Mm-hmm.
who's doing that great cooking program, we couldn't have done it.
Right.
And we were also located near Anaheim, and
Mm.
so we had all of the Disney corridor kinds of
Yes.
restaurants and hotels that we could recruit as partners.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Many of your roles involved scaling up from single schools to districts. Innovation at scale often falters because of fidelity, variation, and leader capacity. From your experience, what are the three biggest pitfalls you've seen when scaling an innovation initiative? And what early warning systems would you advise a school leader to adopt so that when we try to spread promising practice, we can catch the drift before it becomes a distortion?
Hmm. I think this has a lot to do with the first thing that we talked about with the loose tight um,
Okay.
and the buy-in.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason something usually works early is you have the people who want it to work.
Right.
And so, you have your digital arts teacher, or you have
Mm-hmm.
my Mrs. Hunyadi,
Yes.
and then you can build around that person.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, you don't have the capacity to hire more people. And so you
Mm-hmm.
need the other people who are already here to buy in and
Mm-hmm.
replicate.
Right.
And getting buy-in of those folks is very, very difficult.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I was at Los Alamitos during the Great Recession.
Okay.
And Los Alamitos, a very high functioning school district. It had been very well run before I got there. And then
Mm-hmm.
since they've done terrific things. But when I got there, the instruction, there wasn't a systematic way to ensure that all kids had great instruction.
Okay.
So we had pockets of excellence.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so during the Great Recession, we were short of money. We had laid off teachers, which was
Oh,
very
wow.
painful.
Okay.
But we knew we couldn't stop professional development because we're only as good as we are. And so
Right.
we couldn't stop investing in us. The good news was that because we were short on money, it forced us to reduce the breadth of our professional development.
Okay.
And so that sandbox that I talked about earlier, the
Mm.
tight part was every
Right.
school needs to identify something they want to get better at.
Okay. I like that. I like
Yeah,
schools also being able to have some choice. Mhm.
absolutely.
Yes.
And our commitment was we're not going to ask you to change that topic for 3 years.
Dreams. What principal dreams are made of? Sorry.
Yeah. Because people get this implementation whiplash, right? What's the
Yes.
flavor of this month, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so our commitment was 3 years. Now, if you come to us and wanted, you feel pretty good after 2 years, sure,
Right.
let's go to a
Okay.
next one.
Okay.
But we should all have something that we're trying to get better at. And by making it school by school, they were speaking the same language.
Mm-hmm.
So what we took to scale was the signature practices idea that each
Okay.
school is going to have some signature practices that they're going to become expert in.
Okay.
But they decided what the practice was,
Okay.
and that worked pretty well. Um, a, a bigger challenge I had when I was principal that didn't work out so well. We had a terrific group of 3 teachers at Bonita High
Mm-hmm.
who ran a freshman academy. It wasn't the name that we used, but a science teacher, a social science teacher, and an English teacher shared 100 kids,
Oh, yes. 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 Yes.
and it, like a house.
Yes. Yes.
And they called it core.
Okay.
And so within that 3 hours, the teachers could play with the time,
Yes.
and very often on a lot of days, if you went into the English class, it looked like an English class.
Mm-hmm.
But the special part of what happened is quarterly, they had a big project-based learning
Oh, that's
project.
awesome. Mm-hmm.
And they worked in to make sure that the history standards, the English standards, and the science standards
Mm-hmm.
were all at work throughout each of those
Right.
four big
Yes.
projects.
Yes.
And so it was things like recreate the Iliad at the
Mm.
wave pool at San Dimas Water Park.
Wow.
And so you have to build the boat that'll float,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then you have to have the literary um,
Just
the
the
literary
background.
characters,
Yes.
and
Yes.
they were dressed in, in their outfits,
So awesome.
and the kids thought it was the biggest hoot because at the end they turn on the waves and see if your boat would still make it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so
Yes.
I think that when there's opportunities for kids to do stuff that has some meaning for them instead of what
Hmm.
feels like clerical work,
Yes. Yes.
then the sky's the limit. We tried to replicate it and create three more cores for
Right.
the rest of the freshman class,
Okay.
and it turns out that the magic was in those three people and their
Um,
relationship. And so I just wanted to point out that sometimes
yeah.
scaling is really hard.
Right.
And sometimes instead of scaling one idea, you have to let other people
Right.
come up with what's going to work for them.
Right. Right. That I was thinking about even at our site. We have our special day class teachers working on project based learning, but taking a theme and then weaving that through all of the content standards. And we just see a huge just shift even in connection where now students don't feel embarrassed at all and they're actually proud to share their learning when students and parents, when we have their exhibitions, just that connectedness, there's like a
Yeah.
connection to attendance, and the sense of belonging that those teachers create in those environments because the children are really invested in their learning and they're actually really learning. You can see it in our LPM data and scores. That's so hard though when you have the magic of a team and you see a practice that can work and not being able to scale that up or to
Right.
transfer that to other
Yeah.
people.
We
So,
tried, a few years in a row with different
hmm
matchups of
hmm
teachers, but
hmm
that group just had
they
the
had
it,
it.
whatever it,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
I was going to ask when you were talking about professional development in the schools, were able to sort of set the focus in collaboration with the central office. And so you had this entire faculty of experts in a certain area. Did the faculty or the school share the expertise amongst each other if they decided that they wanted to follow in a similar direction or?
Yes. So at the elementary school level, we had 6 elementary schools in Los Alamitos,
Okay.
and there might have been one or two that were doing something different, but multiple schools selected Writers Workshop and Readers Workshop, the
Mm-hmm.
Columbia trainings
Hmm.
for language arts, and a couple of the other schools selected cognitively guided instruction in mathematics.
Oh, okay.
And so what happened is they both went down their path and then helped train
That's
each other
awesome.
on the next round of
Nice.
practices.
Yeah, talk about meaningful PD with the street cred teachers, their colleagues who did the
Yeah.
work and got results. That's powerful.
And we used some trainers,
Hmm.
but by far most of our training was done by in-house
Hmm.
expertise because we knew it worked with our kids.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we knew they could do it with the kids that were in front of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, where we got to meet, you now teach future leaders at USC Rossier. And participate in the Breakthrough Leadership Institute, where we also got to attend, which was culture changing for our school,
Yeah.
where the focus is on reimagining educational possibilities. For school leaders who might feel stuck, frazzled, overwhelmed, and under resourced, what is one innovation, sandbox, or micro experiment you would propose they run in the next 30 days to
Hmm.
build momentum and culture that says, yes, we can try?
Yeah. I think first of all, start with the willing. It's very difficult to convince people that have no interest in something to get interested.
Okay.
And I love those pilots because you can try all kinds of stuff with people who care about making it successful and then figure out how to spread it.
Okay, that makes sense.
And in the meantime, you're finding out a lot of interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
So I would look for some pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I would look for the willing, the
Okay.
people who want to see it be successful. And I would make sure that it involved having kids do interesting work, just the way you
Okay.
described in your special needs
Mm-hmm.
program.
Mm-hmm.
that task determines performance.
Okay.
And so if all you have people doing is, kind of the odd questions at the end of the chapter, that you're
It's
not
not
going to get much of a
interesting.
performance. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so if you have people trying to create a carnival ride that uses the forces of gravity
Yes.
and be able to have to make those calculations and make it fun,
Yes.
and then present that to the folks at Magic Mountain,
Oh,
recruit
wow.
some
I didn't even think
executives
about
to
that.
sit down and because
Wow.
now it's like, well, these guys know what they're talking about.
Yes. And it's meaningful. I'm not just doing it for,
Yeah,
Dr.
right,
Spates because she's my teacher in a grade.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, or even make it out of Hot Wheel tracks or whatever. But those kinds of things, just as you pointed out with your group, kids, school's a great place. I love being at schools because it's the relationships that matter,
Right.
and those are the things that build relationships,
True.
kid to kid and kid to adult.
Right.
And once you have the relationships,
Oh,
the
yeah.
rest of it's just logistics. And so
Okay. Thank you.
that's where I would start. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Finally, for leaders at every level, from teacher leaders, assistant principals, directors, assistant superintendents, what is the single piece of advice you would give them about being bold, fostering innovation, and building a culture where everyone feels invited to contribute, especially during the time we're in now? And could you share a brief story when you saw someone unexpected lead an innovation and what enabled that moment and what made it different? Or what
So
difference did it make? I'm sorry.
yeah, when I was hired at Tustin Unified, the board had some specific things they were concerned about. One was the academic achievement of the high schools. They thought they were
Okay.
underperforming,
Okay.
which was very insightful because they were relatively high performing, but they weren't doing what they could do.
Okay.
And then we had a very uneven technology infrastructure and ecosystem. And so some schools were doing pretty good with technology, and this is in 2011.
Okay.
And so, as the new superintendent, of course, I didn't come in and say, "Hey, we're going to, do this thing." So I went on listening tours and collected a lot of information, and was able to boil down two things that we needed to engage students because we weren't really challenging all of our students. So we needed these rigorous standards. That was also like on the backside of people having been real upset about the core standards.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
Remember that? And
Yes.
so we didn't say we're going to teach those standards. We said we're going to teach rigorous standards.
Right.
And we were, yay, we're going to be rigorous. And so rigorous standards, engaging instructional strategies supported by technology.
Okay.
And that became what we called Tustin Connect, TUSD Connect.
Okay.
And coming up with that framework and system just ignited so many projects. The first project is this is going to cost a lot of money. And so we passed a bond through our community.
Okay.
And that ignited volunteers, principals,
Wow.
parents to get the Yes on Measure S passed,
Okay. Okay.
which made us the first district to be our own fiber optic internet service provider.
Oh, wow.
So Tustin still has the fastest network in Orange
Wow.
County
Wow.
and not dependent on AT&T or
Yes.
the other providers.
Okay.
And it put a computer or device in every kid's hand
Wow. Early.
early.
Yes.
2012, we were able to do that. And then the reason we started with standards, engagement, and then technology is we didn't want people just to think, oh, this technology is just
Right.
fluff. It's not
Yes.
about
Just
the
give them a
technology.
device and yes.
It's about the teaching.
Right.
The
Right.
teaching was the key.
Right.
And so with TUSD Connect, that engaged our purchasing department. How do we get the best bang for the buck?
Okay.
Our IT department, our ed services went crazy. I mean, they had so much new work to do.
Yes. Yes.
PD, we created a cadre of what we call digital learning coaches. They weren't our top technologists. They were our top teachers
Which makes sense. Right.
because it's all about the teaching.
Right.
And so they learned how to use technology to help engage kids
Right.
to do really new and interesting things.
Right.
It it involved almost everybody in the entire school district in one way or another to support IT and all those devices and the instruction that goes with it.
Right.
So some stories about it. We had kids writing novels,
Oh my
and
God.
we had so many people troubleshooting things like the technology divide. Even once we gave everybody technology, we didn't have it in the homes. Not everybody had access at home.
Right. Right.
So our IT department, we didn't demand it. Our IT folks said, "Hey, we think we have a solution."
Wow.
And so they created
That's awesome.
their own antennas and put them in high spots around the neighborhoods that were least served by
Wow.
internet connections. Once people know what you're trying to do,
Hmm.
and it resonates with them,
Right.
then they find ways. And it was spectacular.
And that speaks to your leadership, though, because you give people space to be creative. Once
People need,
everybody understands what the vision is, you're not telling them to do it in a specific way or follow this roadmap or this prescription that I've laid out. So,
if you think you're going to supervise people into doing better, uh, don't- just go have a cup of coffee because it's not going to work. Right.
right,
Or
right.
something stronger, whatever your preference. Yeah.
Nice. Having the privilege to attend USC, you all taught us about listening and learning tours. And if
Mhm.
somebody isn't familiar with that, can you talk about
Yeah.
what a listening and learning tour is when you get into a new leadership position?
So, as you point out, the most common time to do one of those is when you're new. Whether you're new to a district or just new to a position,
Mm,
you need to like take the temperature and get the feel. What do we do well? What do we struggle with? And then what assets do we have to
mm.
put towards those things that we need to get better?
Okay.
So when I had a new position, either superintendent or principal, I would ask these same three questions regardless of where I was. Tell me what we do well, because people like the chance to brag and
Right.
let you know. And it also gave you a sense that if you keep hearing the same program or people's
Hmm.
names,
Hmm.
we got to get to know those guys,
Right.
right? We're
Right.
going to be really
Yes.
good friends,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. And then the second thing is, what could we be better at? If you had a magic wand and could say, we're going to get better at this thing, what would that thing be?
Okay.
And that themes emerge through that
Okay.
process. And
Okay.
as those themes emerge, you're hearing language. Different people use different words to describe the problem. And I think part of the leader's challenge is, how do I take what I've heard
Hmm.
and restate it in a way that captures everybody's meaning,
Mm.
and people will resonate it with it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
they'll go, yes, that is our problem.
Okay.
And they'll recognize their own words, because
Right.
it comes from the group.
Okay.
And then the third thing I always did is ask, how can I help you and how can you help me?
Okay.
And if there were some things that I could do for somebody right away, get it some
Hmm.
quick wins
Right.
and goodwill, I
Right.
would do that. And often they wanted to be helpful, but nobody
Hmm.
had ever asked before.
Right.
And
Right.
they said, well, I'm really good at marketing and I'd be
Mhm.
happy to, help you get the word out about stuff
Right.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I remember when I was coming into my very first principalship,
Mhm.
I had the opportunity to connect with the staff. Right at the end of the school year, the outgoing principal was very gracious and allowed me to do that. And so, one of those early wins, the robotics teacher, he was just trying to get a course on the master schedule, the correct names so that they could place the kids appropriately. And it was really just a bureaucracy type thing.
Mhm.
So I was able to get that done and had a new colleague that I was, was able to work with. So just
Yeah.
something that he had been wanting to get done before. So
And Christian, I would put that in the context of you found a way to say yes, right?
yes,
We
yes,
shouldn't let the bureaucratic system get in the way of a good idea.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And my question I always like to know because I don't get the intel on what I should be reading in the same way. So, Dr. Franklin, what are you reading right now?
Like most of us, I'm trying to learn more about AI.
Okay.
And so I'm reading a book called A Brief History of Intelligence
Okay.
that goes back to our anthropological history of
Okay.
how we've evolved,
Okay.
and knowing how the brain got to where we are today, trying to figure out
Mm,
how can you help AI track that
okay.
developmental process.
Okay.
And it's very interesting. I knew you wanted to see the book, and
Yes.
it's on my nightstand. I
Okay.
apologize.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, it's a brief history of intelligence.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And for educators at the site level, our roles can be emotionally heavy. What practices of reflection, community, or wellness sustain principles for the long haul?
Yeah. I don't think we can rely on the fact that we come to work and grind ourselves down
Mm-hmm.
and then we go home or away from work to rejuvenate. I think
Mm,
if you're not building rejuvenation into the work,
mm,
it's a losing battle.
okay.
And so for me, it's finding joy in the things and the people that I'm doing the hard work with.
Okay.
So taking breaks, playing together,
Mm,
um, having a pitcher of adult beverage after work on
yes.
Thursday. When I worked at Saddleback High School, and we had a great department chair, and he'd call a faculty meeting. He said, "It's a one pitcher meeting." Well, this is a tough one. It's a two pitcher meeting.
I
And
love it.
so I just think you have to be able to find joy
Okay.
in the context and treat yourself. I mean, of course, family and doing all of those things
Right.
is so important, but it can't be the only place that you're recharging.
Thank you for that. I'm gonna rethink that. So, and I noticed I have an aura ring. So it's so interesting when I look at stress and then I think about what I was doing at that time of day. So it's like the stress isn't there if I'm like in a classroom or just sitting having lunch with students or getting able to do some of the thinking. Um, what do I say? Like working on the school, like not in the school. So thank you for that reminder
Sure.
to schedule that in. And then last, if you could whisper two sentences, one sentence to every principal as they walk into the building the next time they enter work, and one sentence to central office leadership as they enter their offices the next time they return to work, what would you whisper to them?
To the principals, the three most important things here are the people, and the people.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Nothing else matters. At the
Okay.
district office, I'd say go support the principals because their job is hard.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Franklin, for
It's a pleasure,
riding with me
Krishna.
today on
Yeah,
the school bus.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
One thing that I forgot to mention, and
Mhm.
is about when you said breaking free. Through the breakthrough coach, how do you get unstuck?
Mhm.
One of the other things that we did that was successful is take people to schools that we could benchmark against. They have similar
Mm, mhm.
demographics to us,
Yes.
but maybe outperforming us in
Yeah.
certain spaces.
Yes.
And take some teacher leaders and see if they'll let you come visit and have a conversation with them. And in my experience, because we did that a lot before we launched TUSD Connect, we went to all kinds of places that were technology leaders,
Mhm.
and we didn't copy anybody, but we learned from each place we went,
Right.
and we came back going, I think we could do it better.
Right. Yeah.
And so sometimes you just need a little kickstart, like, hey, they've got the same kids we've got,
Yes.
and they're able to, their kids are better readers or writers,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yes. Yes.
And I think most of us that makes us cringe a little bit. Like, you mean these kids of ours would be better if they were in that district? Oh no,
Mhm.
that I said that can't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to be the best place for the kids that we have.
Absolutely. I always look at the California Distinguished Schools.
Yeah.
I want to go to those middle schools just
Yeah.
because I think sometimes teachers, school leaders, but especially teachers, I think they question sometimes if our kids can. But
Yep.
I want to be able to show them examples like, look, it's the same kids, it can happen, it's
Yeah.
possible. So just
I
figuring out
think
how to
that's
make that
very
happen.
powerful. And sometimes that'll be the spark that's like, oh, people
Mhm.
are doing different things that we're not doing
Right,
with the same kids we have.
right.
Yeah. Thank you, Krishna. Fight on.
Thank you, Dr. Franklin. Fight on.